Washington Democrats made up their minds to impeach President Trump before he was even inaugurated.
Donald Trump is a living, breathing, impeachable offense.
Donald Trump is facing an impeachment trial again. No president has ever been impeached twice, and no president has ever gone on trial after leaving office. It's fair to say we're in pretty uncharted territory. So what's the case against him? Donald Trump is accused of inciting violence against the government. Specifically this, the storming of Congress by thousands of his supporters. But his accusers say you have to go back a couple of months to last November's presidential election.
We know there was massive fraud.
That was a rigged election.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win.
Trump lost, but refused to admit it. Not only that.
Okay, so here we go again. Democrats are filing impeachment resolutions against Trump again. I know, you just got done with the first impeachment. You got done with the second impeachment. You got done with all the trials and the drama in the Senate voting. And now here we are in 2025, and Democrats are literally doing it again. They're filing new impeachment resolutions. They're introducing formal charges. They're trying to impeach Trump again. And Trump is absolutely losing his mind about it. He's raging about it. He's calling it a witch hunt. He's saying Democrats are destroying the country by constantly trying to remove him. But here's the thing, and these new impeachment papers are dropping while the classified documents scandal at Mar-a-Lago is still generating headlines. These are old scandals and new legal charges colliding at the same time. And the question everyone's asking is, why are Democrats doing this again when they know the Republican-controlled House is never going to vote to remove Trump? Why keep pushing impeachment when it's not going to work? And the answer is more complicated than you might think. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest, you can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us. Be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video.
But when the state of Georgia was getting ready to hold a second round of voting to settle two very close Senate races, Mr. Trump is accused of trying to intervene illegally.
I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
It all came to a head on January the 6th, when Congress was due to confirm the results of the presidential election.
Let me walk you through what's actually happening right now in Congress. In April 2025, Representative Shri Thanedar introduced H-Res 353, a formal impeachment resolution that charges Trump with 7 different counts. 7 counts. That's not just one or two things. That's a comprehensive list of alleged crimes and constitutional violations. The resolution charges Trump with obstruction of justice. It charges him with usurping Congress's spending power. It charges him with abusing trade powers. It charges him with violating First Amendment rights. It charges him with creating an unlawful office. It charges him with bribery and corruption. And it charges him with tyranny. Tyranny. Think about that. A member of Congress formally charged the president with tyranny. That's not normal language. That's not something you hear every day in Congress, but that's what's in the resolution. And then in May, another Democrat, Representative Al Green, filed additional impeachment resolutions. On May 15th, he filed H-Res 415. Then on June 24th, he filed H-Res 537, multiple resolutions, multiple formal charges, multiple attempts to impeach Trump. And Green was apparently planning to file even more articles of impeachment before Christmas 2025. So you've got Democrats repeatedly, consistently, continuously pushing impeachment against Trump. And the question is why? Why do this when you know it won't work? Why file impeachment resolutions when the Republican House is not going to vote to remove Trump? The answer is partly about legal accountability. The answer is partly about making a constitutional statement. And the answer is partly about politics, using impeachment as a way to keep Trump's legal troubles in the headlines while keeping the Democratic base energized and motivated. Now here's where the Mar-a-Lago documents come in, and this is important. The classified documents case is still live. A special counsel has detailed how Trump allegedly hoarded highly sensitive records at his resort. Trump allegedly took classified material to Mar-a-Lago after he left office, allegedly kept it there, allegedly refused to return it, and even faced charges for allegedly deleting security footage to cover it up. That's not a closed case. That's not something from the past. That's ongoing. That's current. That's active right now in the courts. So Democrats are saying, look, while the Justice Department is pursuing criminal charges over classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, Congress also needs to pursue constitutional accountability through impeachment. Congress needs to say publicly that this conduct is unacceptable. Congress needs to go on record as saying this violates the Constitution and the president should be removed. That's the argument they're making. Now, let me explain what's in these impeachment resolutions and why they matter, because you need to understand what Democrats are actually arguing. Trump did. When Representative Thanedar introduced House Resolution 353 in April 2025, he wasn't just making random accusations. He was making specific legal and constitutional arguments based on documented conduct. The obstruction of justice charge is based on Trump's alleged efforts to interfere with the classified documents investigation. Trump allegedly told officials to delete records. Trump allegedly tried to get investigators to back off. Trump allegedly interfered with the Justice Department's work. Those aren't just political accusations. Those are specific allegations of criminal conduct. The usurping Congress's spending power charge is based on Trump's use of emergency authorities to impose tariffs and redirect federal funds without congressional approval. We've already talked about the tariff case at the Supreme Court, but there are other cases too where Trump has been using emergency authorities to move money around and make policy without Congress. Democrats are saying that's unconstitutional. That's violating separation of powers. That's the president trying to do Congress's job. The abuse of trade powers charge is directly related to that tariff situation. Trump imposed hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs using an emergency law from 1977. Democrats are saying that's an abuse of power. That's using executive authority in ways it was never meant to be used. The violating First Amendment rights charge is based on Trump's attacks on the press and his efforts to crack down on media outlets that criticize him. Trump has called journalists enemies of the people. Trump has talked about going after media outlets. Trump has suggested using government power against news organizations. Democrats are saying that violates the First Amendment. That violates freedom of the press. The bribery and corruption charge is based on Trump's alleged self-dealing while in office, using his position as president to benefit his business interests, using government authority to enrich himself. That's what that charge is about. And then there's the tyranny charge. That's the one that stands out. Tyranny. That's not a legal term. That's a constitutional term. That's the founders talking about the kind of power that would destroy a republic. The tyranny charge is based on Trump's overall pattern of behavior, attacking the judiciary, attacking the rule of law, claiming he's above the Constitution, trying to consolidate power, trying to eliminate checks and balances. It's all of it together, adding up to a pattern of authoritarian behavior. That's what tyranny means in a constitutional context. So Democrats are making a comprehensive case. They're not just saying one or two things went wrong. They're saying Trump's entire approach to the presidency is unconstitutional. They're saying his fundamental philosophy of executive power is wrong and dangerous. Now let's talk about the Mar-a-Lago documents case because it's relevant to all of this. Trump allegedly took boxes of classified documents to Mar-a-Lago after he left office in 2021. Investigators asked for the documents back. Trump allegedly refused. Investigators got a warrant. Trump's team said the documents weren't there, but investigators found them anyway. Tons of classified material, sensitive national security information, some of the highest classification levels. And Trump allegedly took the documents knowing he wasn't supposed to, allegedly kept them knowing it was illegal, allegedly deleted security footage to cover it up. Those are serious allegations. Those are criminal allegations. And they directly support the impeachment charges about obstruction of justice and abuse of power. Because if Trump really did all that, if he really did take classified documents and refuse to return them and delete footage to cover it up, then he's obstructing justice. He's abusing his power. He's violating the law. So here's the connection. Democrats are filing impeachment resolutions while the classified documents case is still ongoing in federal court. Democrats are saying Congress needs to act on constitutional accountability while the Justice Department is pursuing criminal accountability. And they're hoping that by doing both at the same time, by attacking Trump from multiple angles, they can build a comprehensive case about his fitness for office. The legal memo from the advocacy group Free Speech for People updated a list of 25 separate grounds for impeachment against Trump. 25. That's a lot. That shows how extensive the alleged misconduct is. It shows how many different ways Trump has allegedly violated the Constitution. And Democrats are arguing that Congress has a duty to act. Congress has a duty to consider impeachment when there's evidence of this kind of conduct. But here's the reality check, and the Republican-controlled House is not going to impeach Trump. Even if every Democrat votes for impeachment, Republicans have the votes to block it. Democrats don't have the votes to remove Trump because Republicans control the House. So impeachment is not going to succeed. Trump is not going to be removed from office through impeachment. That's just not going to happen. So why are Democrats doing this? Why file impeachment resolutions if they know they won't pass? The answer is partly about legal accountability. Democrats are saying we need to go on record as saying this conduct is unacceptable. We need to make clear that we believe Trump has violated the Constitution. We need to preserve the constitutional argument even if we can't remove him. And partly it's about 2026 midterms. Democrats are trying to keep Trump and his misconduct in the headlines. Democrats are trying to energize their base. Democrats are trying to make the case to voters that Republicans are protecting Trump when they should be holding him accountable. Okay, let me break this down into the three main points that matter about Democrats filing new impeachment resolutions against Trump, because this is important for understanding what's happening in Congress right now. First point, and this is straightforward, Democrats have filed multiple formal impeachment resolutions charging Trump with 7 specific constitutional violations, including obstruction of justice, abuse of power, usurping congressional authority, and tyranny. This is documented. These resolutions exist. They're filed in Congress. Res. 353 was introduced on April 28, 2025. Additional resolutions were filed in May and June. These are real formal charges brought by sitting members of Congress. So Democrats have officially gone on record as believing Trump should be impeached and removed from office. That matters politically. That matters legally. That creates an official record of congressional concern about Trump's conduct. And that record will exist even if the impeachment doesn't pass the House. Second point, and this is critical, the impeachment resolutions are timed to coincide with ongoing federal cases against Trump, particularly the classified documents case at Mar-a-Lago. This is not random timing. Democrats are deliberately filing impeachment charges while Trump is facing criminal charges for hoarding classified documents. Democrats are saying Congress needs to pursue constitutional accountability through impeachment while the Justice Department pursues criminal accountability through prosecution. They're coordinating the timing, they're making the same arguments in 2 different forms, and they're hoping that the combination of legal pressure from multiple directions will either force Trump from office or at least damage his ability to govern and campaign for re-election. Third point, and this is the uncomfortable truth, the Republican-controlled House will not vote to remove Trump on these impeachment charges. Even if every Democrat votes for impeachment, Republicans have the votes to block it. So impeachment will fail, Trump will not be removed. But that doesn't mean it's pointless, because impeachment serves other purposes. Impeachment puts Trump's misconduct in the headlines. Impeachment energizes the Democratic base. Impeachment creates an official congressional record that Trump has been charged with constitutional violations. Impeachment makes it harder for Trump to claim he's being persecuted by courts because Congress is also pursuing accountability. So even though impeachment will likely fail, it still has political and legal value. Now let's talk about what this means for Trump and for the country. Trump is obviously furious about this. Trump is raging about impeachment. Trump is calling it a witch hunt. Trump is saying Democrats are abusing the power of impeachment. And he's not completely wrong that there's a political element to this. There is. Democrats are using impeachment partly for political purposes, but at the same time, the underlying allegations are serious. Trump did take classified documents. Trump did allegedly obstruct justice. Trump has attacked the Constitution and the rule of law. So Democrats aren't making this up out of thin air. They're responding to real alleged conduct. They're pursuing real constitutional accountability. It just happens to have political value as well. Here's why this matters for everyone watching this. We're in a situation where a president is facing multiple forms of accountability simultaneously. He's facing criminal charges from the Justice Department. He's facing civil lawsuits. He's facing impeachment resolutions from Congress. He's facing potential contempt charges from courts. He's facing multiple investigations. And the question is whether all of this adds up to real accountability or whether it's just noise. Whether multiple different branches of government pursuing him at once means the system is working, or whether it means the system is broken and politicized. Different people will come to different conclusions about that. But the fact is that all of this is happening. Trump is under intense legal pressure from multiple directions. And here's what's concerning about the way things are heading. If impeachment fails because Republicans block it, what message does that send? It sends the message that party loyalty matters more than constitutional accountability. It sends the message that even if the president has violated the Constitution, his own party will protect him. That undermines the impeachment process. That undermines Congress's ability to hold presidents accountable, because if impeachment is just a partisan exercise where the president's party always blocks it, then what's the point? The founders designed impeachment to be a way for Congress to remove a president who's violated the Constitution. But if it becomes purely partisan, if one party always protects the president while the other party attacks him, then impeachment becomes meaningless. And that's a real problem for the system. On the other hand, if Democrats keep filing impeachment resolutions that fail, they're training voters to ignore impeachment. They're making impeachment seem like a tool that doesn't work. They're undermining the power of the process by using it repeatedly without success. So there's a real tension here. Impeachment is too important to use casually. But at the same time, if Trump has really violated the Constitution, Congress has a duty to pursue impeachment. So Democrats are stuck in a difficult position. They believe Trump should be impeached, but they know impeachment won't pass the House. So filing impeachment resolutions without expecting them to pass seems kind of pointless. But not filing them seems like abdicating congressional responsibility. So they file them anyway, knowing they'll fail. And that's where we are. So to bring it all together, House Democrats have filed multiple impeachment resolutions charging Trump with constitutional violations, including obstruction of justice, abuse of power, and tyranny. These resolutions are being filed while Trump faces criminal charges in the classified documents case at Mar-a-Lago. The Republican-controlled House will not vote to impeach Trump because Republicans have the votes to block it, but Democrats are filing impeachment resolutions anyway for political reasons and to create an official congressional record. Trump is raging about it, the media is covering it, and Congress is once again pursuing impeachment against a president, even though removal is virtually impossible. This is the state of Congress in 2025. This is what's happening right now. Democrats pursuing impeachment, Republicans blocking it, and the system operating exactly as designed to be gridlocked and ineffective. That's the story, that's the reality, and that's what we're living through. Stay tuned, because if Democrats keep filing impeachment resolutions, and if Trump keeps facing criminal charges, and if the system keeps pursuing accountability without achieving removal, eventually something is going to break. Either impeachment will actually lead to removal, or it will become completely meaningless and people will stop believing in it entirely. And we're getting closer to one of those two outcomes every single day.